Hello, Waswere here, back with another video, and today we're going over the drop rates of Elder God Wars Dungeon 3 and how it relates to the profit that you can make at each of these bosses. It's been a little known secret that both Zuck and Kerapac are insane GP per hour, and now we have the drop rates that we can actually confirm it. Because we don't have the exact drop rates for Arch-Glacor streaking, I decided to avoid doing the math for that one, as it would mostly be uneducated guesses as to the scale of the formula, and I'm going to leave that for much smarter people to figure out. But I am going to start with the Arch-Glacor, as we can still go through and talk about the drop rates. Normal mode is pretty straightforward. You get Nilas, more common as the mechanics go up. Zero mechanics, you have 5 out of 1,000 when you hit the table, and 5 mechanics, you have 75 out of 1,000 when you hit the table. And there is also a commons multiplier as you go to higher mechanics. They didn't do a good job of showing exactly what the Nilas rate is, because you'll read this and you'll be like, oh, it's 5 in 1,000, but it's 5 in 1,000 after you already hit a 9 in 100 table. So I put a little table here on the right side so you can see just how rare they are in normal mode. Even at 5 mechanics, the drop rate for Nilas is 1 in 148, so you're much better off just going to hard mode for Nilas, even if you are only able to do low enrage. Like a 0 to 250 streak is probably going to be better for Nilas than a camping 5 mechanic normal mode. As for hard mode, they gave 5 different streak and enrage parameters, so you can see just how enrage and kill streak helps the drop rate. Based on the 5 available there is some strong scaling going on from 1 in 494 at 1 streak 100 enrage to 1 in 60 at streak 25 and 1500 enrage. But it's still nowhere near as strong as Telos, where by the time you're at 2449 claims, you're getting a 1 in 15 drop rate. Also, it's worth mentioning that once you hit the table, you need to get another 1 in 5 roll to get the frozen core. So the core rate is actually 5 times as worse as what's shown on this table. So this streak 25 enrage 1500 drop is actually 1 in 300 to get a frozen core of Lang. I'm surprised they didn't mention the drop rate of Nilas in hard mode, as that's something I would like to see. The pet, on the other hand, has a lot of drop rates. It goes from 1 in 1,000 in hard mode all the way down to 1 in 18,000, depending on how many mechanics you have on. Each threshold adds 1 to the numerator, meaning that if you did 1 mechanic at 500 KC, your drop rate would be 2 in 15,000, which can be reduced down to 1 in 7,500. For the pet, I would suggest just doing hard mode, and if you happen to complete the log before you have the pet, you'll have some high thresholds and can just go AFK 1 mechanic normal mode until you get it. Arch-Glacor is done, which means we can move on to the mass section of this video. I'm going to take the drop rates Jagex gave, an estimate of the prices from PCT, and a token amount of GP for commons to give the expected GP per hour of the 3 remaining God Wars bosses. And Croesus is where we're going to start. This one is pretty simple. The unique drop table is 1 in 600, and there are 9 different drops to get. So the drop for each one is actually 1 in 5,400, which sounds like a lot, but you get multiple drop rolls per kill, depending on how much you contribute. You can see here it ranges all the way from 0 drops to 12 drops. And the 4-man 2-mid method pretty much guarantees 420 points all the time, leading to 12 rolls per kill, assuming you don't make a mistake throughout the kill. So the overall drop rate for any unique item per kill for you alone is 1 in 50. Plugging in the prices from PCT and commons of about 125k per loot roll, you get 565k per roll, which is 6.8 mil per kill, and on good teams with no banking for the entire hour, you can get 9 kills, which is about 61 mil per hour. This is really good for the amount of gear that requires. I don't think there would be another boss in the game that you could go in with a 100 mil bank and pull out 61 mil per hour. So Croesus is a really good place to start your PVM journey by getting the gear that allows you to do the other bosses more efficiently. In terms of the boss pet, the chance of finding the boss pet is 1 in 1,000 and a drop with a threshold of 500. You only get 1 roll per kill regardless of your contribution. If you only care about the pet, it's best to just do public instances and very quick kills. You'll get like 2-minute kills and you'll get a roll every single time and you'll build up KC for that threshold. But if you want to go for the collection log, what you can do is you can do the regular log, and if you happen to be pet off log, then you can just start doing those public instances. To get all 9 unique items, it takes about 25-ish total drops on average, using the coupon collector formula. And with a unique rate of 1 in 50, that means we would need 1273 kills with 12 loot rolls as an estimated number. This puts it well over 100 hours to get the log done, and approaching on 150 hours, and it's the longest of all of the God Wars Dungeon 3 logs. Next up, we're talking about Kerapac. Jagex, again, kind of minced their words here and made it very confusing to know the exact drop rates from reading it, but let's decipher it as best we can. Starting with normal mode, there is a 1 in 256 chance of getting a drop. I'm assuming this is on a per pile basis, so that gives you a 1 in 85 chance of seeing a drop per kill. With the drop rates plugged in and about 200k in commons per pile, the total GP per kill is over 1 mil at 1.27 mil. I use 20 kills per hour as well as not the fastest. I think it represents the type of people that would be killing normal mode Kerapac. Moving on to hard mode, and this is where they kind of miscommunicated it, and it's not too clear what the actual drop rate for any of the non-staff uniques are, as it doesn't say, but with some fancy math, I was able to determine that once you hit the 1 in 192 drop table for Kerapac hard mode, it goes to another table where it's a 3 in 7 chance to get a staff piece and a 4 in 7 chance to get one of Concentrated Blast, the wrist wraps, or the Scripture. That makes the drop rate for those items in hard mode about 1 in 1008 per pile. After the commons are added in, we have over 5 mil per pile on average, with my 10 kills per hour solo works out to 152 mil. If you want to calculate your GP per hour for your own kill speeds and group size, take the 5,084,000 number and multiply it by the number of piles you get per hour. So 18 kills per hour duo would be 27 piles each, so 137 mil per hour. As for the pet, it's pretty simple with a 1 in 3000 drop in normal mode and a 1 in 1500 drop in hard mode, with a threshold adding every 500 kills. They didn't specify, but I'm assuming that each pile can roll for the pet, so that's 1 in 1000 per kill solo in normal mode and 1 in 1500 per kill solo in hard mode without any thresholds. This assumption is based on when most people get the pet, and if it was 1 roll per kill, the pet would be a ton rarer. And last but certainly not least is Zuck. Zuck is very good for both normal mode and hard mode in terms of GP per hour. The chance of getting either the Scripture of Full or the Magma Tempest ability codex is 1 in 100. With their still sky-high prices, this makes normal mode still very good GP per run at 23.5 mil. I did add in a rough estimate on the commons at 7.5 mil per kill, but I'm not 100% confident in that number as I haven't been tracking my normal mode commons very well. Most of the GP comes from the Magma Tempest codex, which is something to pay attention to. If Magma Tempest were to drop, then normal mode is no longer as good GP per hour. On top of that, if you go dry on it, you aren't going to make that much GP, as about half of your total GP per hour comes from Magma Tempest. I use 3 kill per hour in this estimation. While this is slow for people with max gear, much like Kerapac, the type of person to do normal mode Zuck is likely to be lower geared, and the 3 kills per hour is a better estimate than 4 or even 5 kill per hour speeds that can be achieved with max gear. Hard mode, on the other hand, has so many drops that it's hard to go dry. The sword is 1 in 30, which increases to 1 in 27 if no checkpoints are used. The dex is 1 in 50, and the Scripture is 1 in 50. This makes the overall rate about 1 in 14 to get a drop. With their continued high prices, due to people not liking Zuck or wanting to commit 30 minutes to a run, this boss is very good GP per hour at about 150 mil per hour. And that's with only 2 runs per hour, when a lot of people can get up to 2.5 runs per hour, making that even higher and almost 200 mil per hour. This math also assumed that you don't get the no checkpoint run. If you do get the no checkpoint run, your drop rate goes to 1 in 27, which will increase your GP per hour by quite a bit. Now, this pet absolutely sucks. It's 500 in normal mode and 1 in 300 in hard mode. Just right off, it's already super rare for RS3 pets, but the threshold is also 100, meaning you can easily go 200, 300 dry on this pet. I am so thankful that I spooned this pet and won't have to do multiple hundreds of hard mode Zuck runs. One of my clannies got his pet around 350, and originally I was like, wow, he's like the driest person in the game. But now that we have the drop rates, it wasn't even that dry, which is very scary to think about. As a final comparison, I did a similar analysis with Next Angel of Death, as it's a common moneymaker for a ton of players. It's just under 5 mil per kill with the current prices, and 19 kills per hour is pretty achievable. That leads to a GP per hour of 92 mil, which is more than Croesus, but less than Zuck and Kerapac. Those bosses can make you instant billionaires. The fact that Zuck and Kerapac are this much GP per hour has been a simple secret among the high-level community. But now that it's more widely out there with the drop rates, we might see more people camping those bosses for that sweet GP, bringing the price down. That's going to be the end of this video. If you liked it, please drop a like on it. It really helps me out. And if you want more math-based or analytical content like this one, subscribe, as it's the type of content I like making the most and want to share with all of you. I literally dropped everything to make this video, and I've had a blast doing it. But past that, have a good day, and I'll catch you in the next one.